The assassinations were brutal, methodical, and left little room for doubt. This was the work of the GRU. Across Europe, Chechen dissidents and former fighters who had opposed Moscow were being hunted down. They had fled Russia seeking safety, but they were never truly beyond the Kremlin's reach. For the GRU, these men were not just enemies. They were traitors who had to be silenced. The wave of killings had begun years earlier, but by the late 2010s, the pattern had become undeniable. Exiled Chechens in Germany, France, Austria, and Turkey were being murdered with ruthless precision. Some were shot at close range, execution style. Others were ambushed in the streets, stabbed, or poisoned. In each case, the message was clear. No one who opposed Russia would be safe. One of the most infamous assassinations occurred in 2019 in Berlin's Tiergarten Park. Zelimkhan Kangoshvili, a former Chechen commander who had fought against Russian forces, was walking through the park when a cyclist approached from behind. Without hesitation, the assassin pulled out a silenced Glock 26 and shot Kangoshvili in the back of the head, then fired 2 more rounds to ensure the kill. The assassin attempted to escape, but was quickly arrested. German authorities later identified him as Vadim Krasakov, a Russian agent linked to the GRU. But Berlin was just one battlefield in this hidden war. In Istanbul, Chechen exiles were being hunted down one by one. In 2015, Abdullah Bukhari, a Chechen preacher known for his opposition to Russia, was gunned down outside his madrasa. A year later, Medet Unlu, an exiled Chechen activist, was shot in his office, his murder traced back to GRU operatives working with Russian-backed hitmen. Each of these killings followed the same pattern, precise, efficient, and leaving little forensic evidence that could directly implicate Moscow. In Austria, Imran Aliyev, a vocal critic of Ramzan Kadyrov's brutal rule in Chechnya, was found in a hotel room in 2020 with his throat slit. The GRU's involvement was heavily suspected, as Aliyev had been under surveillance by Russian intelligence for months before his death. In France, Mamikhan Umarov, another anti-Kremlin blogger, was shot in the head in broad daylight in 2020. Each time, the Kremlin denied responsibility, dismissing the killings as personal disputes or criminal activity. Western intelligence agencies, however, saw the pattern clearly. The GRU had turned Europe into a hunting ground, eliminating political opponents with impunity. These assassinations weren't just about revenge. They were a warning to others who might consider opposing Moscow. Even those who had fled, changed their names, or sought protection in foreign lands were not beyond the reach of Russian operatives. Despite mounting evidence, Russian officials continued to deny involvement, offering flimsy explanations or blaming internal Chechen disputes. But the reality was far more sinister. The GRU had perfected the art of international assassination, operating in the shadows, leaving a trail of bodies but few traces of its presence. For Chechen dissidents, the lesson was clear. Exile did not mean safety. The long arm of the GRU stretched across borders into the heart of European capitals, ensuring that those who once opposed Russia would never truly escape its grasp. The assassinations were not just acts of retribution. They were part of a larger strategy, an unrelenting campaign to silence dissent no matter where it existed.